Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something today that I think is going to resonate with a lot of you out there. It's something that we all deal with pretty much every day as parents, um, screen time. And, figuring out how to manage that with our kids, I mean, it really can feel like a constant struggle, right? Like how much is too much?
Yeah, it really is. Like you said, it's a struggle. And it's tough because screens are just so everywhere now, right? I mean, think about it. Tablets, smartphones, computers, TVs. Like, it's kind of hard to imagine a world without them these days.
Right, exactly. It's everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, there are good things about it too, right? Like some of those educational apps, oh my gosh, can be lifesavers.
Right.
And it's great to connect with family over video chat.
Totally, for sure. I mean, those are definitely positives. But, we're also seeing more and more research coming out about the downsides of too much screen time, and it's concerning.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking sleep problems, behavioral issues, and even, some kids struggling in school.
Yeah, it's a little scary when you start to hear about all that stuff. We actually talked to a mom, Sarah, who was having all these problems with her son. She was telling us how he was constantly irritable, couldn't sleep, just trouble concentrating at school. And it turns out, like, the main culprit was just way too much screen time. She said once she cut back and started enforcing screen-free time before bed, like, things just totally changed. She said it was like a switch flipped.
That's really interesting. And it actually makes a lot of sense when you look at the science behind it. The blue light that all these screens emit, it can really mess with our sleep cycles, like big time.
So it's not just about the content that they're actually watching, but it's the actual light coming from the device.
Exactly. That blue light, it suppresses melatonin production. Melatonin's that hormone that helps us sleep.
Yeah.
So if your kids like staring at a screen right before bed, it's almost like telling their brain to stay awake.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, like, does that mean we got to ban screens altogether?
Well, I wouldn't say ban them completely. I mean, it's not always that black and white, right? It's more about finding a balance that works for your family, right? Like what works for one family might not work for another. But pediatricians recommend no more than an hour a day for kids between like 2 and 5. But when they get older, that's when it gets really tricky.
Yeah, I can see that because, I mean, like, they're constantly growing and changing, and what worked for them, like even at 6, might not work at 8.
Right, exactly. And that's where, having some clear boundaries and a predictable routine can really help. So, like, building in designated screen time slots, right? Like, okay, you have this much time and then we take a break, like that kind of thing.
So you're talking about like no screens at dinner or like an hour before bed.
Exactly. Things like that. I mean, those are great examples. Creating those like screen-free zones or times, it not only limits the screen time, but also it like opens up that space for other things. Family meals, conversations, reading, just letting their imaginations run wild.
Yeah, I love that. I've actually heard about this idea of a tech jar, which sounds kind of fun and interesting.
Oh, yeah, I love that one. I've heard of that too. So it's like this reward system
Yeah.
where like kids earn screen time by doing, chores, finishing homework, whatever works for your family.
Yeah, so it's like a little incentive to get things done.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want that extra half-hour game time, better finish your math problems.
Haha, exactly. It turns screen time into something that they earn. It's a privilege. And it also teaches them about responsibility, and time management. It's a win-win.
I like that. So we've talked about setting boundaries, routines, tech jars. Um, what about like encouraging them to just do stuff that doesn't involve screens?
Oh, that is so important. There's this whole world out there beyond the screen. Think about arts and crafts, building with Legos, playing board games, reading together. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, no, that's true. We've actually been doing a lot of family game nights lately, and it's been amazing. I mean, the kids are actually putting their phones down without a fight.
That is awesome. That's so great to hear. And, don't underestimate the power of getting them outside. Like, seriously, get them moving. A trip to the park, a bike ride, a hike in the woods. Fresh air and physical activity are so important for kids.
It's true. I actually read somewhere that even just looking at trees for a few minutes can reduce stress levels.
Yeah, it's true. Nature has, like, incredible restorative powers. And honestly, you know what? Sometimes we parents need that break from screens just as much as the kids do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm the one who needs the screen detox.
Yeah.
But before we move on too much, I do want to acknowledge, like, not all screen time is bad, right? Like, there are some amazing educational apps and documentaries out there that can actually be really engaging for kids.
Oh, absolutely. You're so right. It's not about, like, demonizing screens. It's more about being mindful, right? About what they're watching and for how long. Think of screens as tools, you know?
Mm.
They can be great for learning, connecting with people, being entertained, but like any tool, it needs to be used responsibly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how do we, like, teach them that responsibility?
Yeah.
I mean, they see us on our phones all the time, right?
That's such a good point. We are their role models, right?
Yeah.
So it all starts with us. Like they're watching how we use screens, how often we're checking our phones, how we respond to notifications. It's about, walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yeah, that's something I definitely need to work on. Like, I'm always telling my daughter to put her phone away, but then I'm scrolling through social media while she's trying to talk to me?
Oh, I totally get it. Believe me, it happens to the best of us. Being mindful of our own screen habits is like a lifelong journey. It's not a destination.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Well, this dad we know, John, he actually learned that the hard way. Like, he was lecturing his daughter about putting her phone away at dinner, and she totally called him out because he had his own phone out, like watching a game or something.
Oh my gosh. I can just picture that. Kids, right? But seriously, yeah, it's a good reminder that we gotta practice what we preach.
So how do we find that, like, sweet spot, that balance between the digital world and real life? I mean, let's be real. Screens aren't going anywhere, are they?
Nope, they're here to stay. And that's what makes it like so interesting and challenging. We need to help our kids develop a healthy relationship with technology so it enhances their lives without taking over.
Yeah, I love that. So, like, what would that look like? I mean, what are some specific things we can do to encourage screen-free activities?
Well, it all starts with creating an environment where those activities are appealing and accessible and just plain fun. Like, think about what your kids are into. What are their interests? Do they love art? Get them some paints or clay, or drawing materials. Are they into building? Legos, blocks, even cardboard boxes, honestly. Those can spark some amazing creativity.
I love that. Yeah, turning a simple cardboard box into a spaceship or a castle or something. I mean, those are the kinds of memories that stick with you.
Absolutely. And those experiences help them, develop their problem-solving skills, their imaginations, their resilience. Like, it's all connected.
It really is. And what about reading? I remember spending, like, hours lost in books when I was a kid.
Oh, reading is such a gift. It opens up like whole new worlds to them, right?
Yeah.
Expands their vocabulary, improves their focus, and reading aloud together can be a wonderful bonding experience. I love doing that.
Yeah, we try to do, like, a family story time every night before bed.
Yeah.
And even my teenager, like, he'll kind of, grudgingly admit that he enjoys it. So,
That's so sweet. It's those little rituals that can make such a big difference. And speaking of rituals, have you ever tried like a screen-free Sunday?
screen-free Sunday. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's basically exactly what it sounds like, right? So one day a week, the entire family unplugs. No phones, no tablets, no TV. It's like a chance to reconnect with each other,
Right.
with nature, with themselves. It can be really powerful.
That sounds amazing, but I have to admit, like, the thought of taking away my teenager's phone for a whole day, I don't know, it's a little daunting.
Oh, I hear ya. It might be a challenge, like at first, but it can also be like incredibly rewarding. You might be surprised at how quickly they adapt and find other ways to, entertain themselves.
Yeah. No, I'm willing to give it a try for sure. Like, we could plan some fun activities, go for a hike, bake cookies, play board games. Like you said, the possibilities are endless.
Exactly. It's a chance to break free from all that constant digital stimulation, and just rediscover those like simple joys of life. Remember those.
Yeah, we could all use a little bit of that. This all reminds me of something this child psychologist, Dr. Michael Levine, once said. He talked about how it's not about eliminating screens altogether. It's about teaching our kids how to use technology responsibly.
Oh, he's so right. We live in a digital age, and technology's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So it's about helping our kids, develop the skills and knowledge they need to, like, navigate this world safely and responsibly.
So it's less about saying no to screens and more about teaching them how to use them as tools.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, that sweet spot where technology actually enhances their lives without taking over. And it's about helping them develop those critical thinking skills to, like, question what they see online, to be discerning consumers of information, to understand the impact of their digital footprint.
That's a really important point. It's not just about, the time they spend on screens, but it's also about the content they're consuming and the choices they're making online. And that's where those digital citizenship skills come in, right?
Yes, exactly. Digital citizenship is all about teaching kids how to be responsible, ethical, and respectful members of the online community. It's so important these days.
So it's like teaching them good manners, but for the digital world.
You got it. Things like, thinking before they post, being kind and respectful to others online, protecting their privacy, understanding the difference between like real and fake news. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a whole new set of skills that we as parents need to be aware of and, teaching our kids.
hmm
Honestly, it can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes.
I hear ya. It can be a lot for sure. But you know what? Remember, we don't have to be experts in everything. Like there are tons of resources available to help parents, websites, books, even online courses that can like help you navigate this whole digital world thing.
Yeah, that's good to know because I think a lot of parents, myself included, feel like they're constantly like playing catch up when it comes to technology.
You are so not alone. Technology is constantly evolving. It can be really hard to keep up. But, the important thing is that we're having these conversations like we're learning alongside our kids, right? And we're creating a culture of open communication in our families about all this stuff.
Yeah, I like that. It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Yeah.
We're all kind of figuring this out together.
Exactly. And there will be bumps along the way. There will be times when we feel like we're failing, like we're not doing enough. But the important thing is to keep learning, keep adjusting, and just keep striving to create that like healthy and balanced tech environment for our families.
And remember, it's okay to ask for help. There's so many resources available to parents, whether it's from experts or other parents or even our kids themselves. Like sometimes they can teach us a thing or two.
That's so true. They're often more tech savvy than we are. So to all the parents out there listening, just remember, you're not alone in this.
Yeah, there's a whole community of parents out there grappling with these same challenges.
Mhm.
And the more we talk about it, share our experiences, and support each other, the better equipped we'll be to raise kids who are healthy and balanced and thriving in this digital age.
And just think, maybe by modeling healthy tech habits ourselves, we can even inspire those around us to do the same, right? It's a ripple effect.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to remember?
Finding the right balance with screen time. It's a journey, not a destination. It's about being mindful, being intentional, and being open to learning and adapting along the way.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that, like, every family is different. Every child is unique. What works for one family might not work for another.
Absolutely. It's about finding what works best for you and your family.
Yeah, it's about finding what works for you guys. Like, it's about being flexible, experimenting with different approaches and just having those open conversations with your kids about their screen time habits.
And don't forget to celebrate the small wins along the way. Like maybe your kid puts down their device without a fight to like join you for a board game.
Yeah.
Or maybe they come to you all excited to share something they learned from a documentary. I mean, those are all signs that you're moving in the right direction, right?
Yeah, those are great points. And honestly, sometimes just putting down our own phones and being present with our kids, I think can make like the biggest difference. It sends a powerful message that like they are our priority, that their time and attention are valuable.
Absolutely. Sometimes those simple actions, they really do speak the loudest. And you know what? This whole conversation has really helped me kind of solidify something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is that it's not about demonizing technology, right? It's about using it as a tool to enhance our lives, to connect with each other, to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's about finding that harmony, right, between the digital world and the real world.
Yeah.
And then teaching our kids how to navigate both in a healthy and balanced way.
Beautifully said. I love that. And remember, like, this deep dive is just the beginning of your exploration, right? So keep asking those questions, keep experimenting, and keep those conversations going with your kids and with each other.
So as you're going about your day, we want you to consider this. What's one small step you can take today to create a healthier tech environment for your family? Maybe it's something like, instituting a tech-free hour before bed, or maybe it's simply putting your own phone down more often and like engaging in some good old-fashioned face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, and just remember, you got this. Parenting in the digital age, I mean, it's a challenge, but it's also an incredible opportunity to raise kids who are thoughtful and responsible and equipped to thrive in a world that's constantly evolving, right?
Well said. Until next time, keep diving deeper into the topics that matter to you.
And remember, the world is full of fascinating discoveries, both on and off the screen.